on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, back to talk to you about Fastlane now that it's happened. The previous podcast would have been me telling you what might happen at Fastlane. This is the much more downplayed, here's what did happen at Fastlane. And I'll be honest, right off the bat, this was not a pay-per-view that grabbed a lot. Well, it grabbed one headline, let's be real for a second. But it didn't grab a lot of headlines. It didn't do all the surprising things that people were expecting, which is kind of a bummer in a way, but it's only a bummer in the sense of the fans didn't get what they created in their heads. What they got was what was advertised for the show. And it is a bummer, but it's not on WWE. Like, if we fantasy book something in our heads, as we always do, and it doesn't happen, then it's on you, kind of. Now, could they have had more surprises? Could they have done some big developments? Could there have been some big shocks? Yes. Would that have made the show better? Yes. But nothing that was promised didn't deliver, if that makes sense. So I'm reticent to immediately point a finger at WWE and say, you didn't do what I thought of in my head, therefore you somehow failed as a show. This is a perfectly fine show. This was, and I said it very much last show when we were doing Payback, and I even titled the preview, is this the live pay-per-view house show that we all need, or something to that regard. And it's fine. I'm still rewatching stuff from No Mercy last week, if I'm completely honest with you. The match with Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton, all the other different developments and all the rumors this week about CM Punk, some other people we're going to talk about in a second. Wrestling has enough to talk about, so a couple of shows going just through the motions is fine. We have Crown Jewel coming up, which will be big. We have Deadline coming up, which is going to have the Iron Survivor matches. Fucking get in. We have a big NXT coming up this week, which we can talk about until we're blue in the face. And we have the Survivor Series, which all but confirmed has at least one War Games match on it. So we know there's big stuff coming. Big stuff not happening necessarily tonight. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Does it set my world on fire either? No. And I'm not going to try and convince you guys otherwise. I will not come to you with a show that did exactly what it said on the tin and say that that tin was an explosive that lit up the sky. It wasn't. It was a pretty good, pretty fun show. When I turned it off, I was happy with the time that I'd spent. And I watched the press conference, and wow. Anyways, the only thing I'll mention from the kickoff is we had footage of the arrival of Jade Cargill in the back talking to Triple H in a really weird looking outfit that everybody else thought was... I'm not saying Jade Cargill's not nice to look at, don't get me wrong, but she kind of looked like an extra from a space movie, which was weird. She was talking to Triple H, and yeah, I like what they're doing, and I have to say this again. Am I excited specifically about Jade Cargill? No. Am I excited with how she's being treated and the idea of other people potentially hopping over that line being treated just as well? Absolutely. They are making her the anti-surprise. Normally, if they wanted to surprise us, like if she was going to show up in the Rumble, there would have been any news. We would have heard the dirt sheets, and that would have been it. They wouldn't have acknowledged her. They wouldn't have said that she was a thing. They wouldn't have announced her. They wouldn't have talked about her. And that would have led up to the Royal Rumble, which would have been the surprise, in tight air quotes, that we all knew was coming, which in this day and age you can't really do. I'm sorry, everybody knew that Adam Copeland was showing up at WrestleDream because it was the only good thing on the show. Let's be real for a second. But they're kind of booking her as the anti-surprise. WWE's basically saying, look, we know you guys probably read the dirt sheets. We know you guys are on Twitter. We know you know she's here. So we're going to tell you that she's here, so you can get excited about her being here, and you can see her mulling about, getting ready for her debut, whenever that is. I think booking Jade Cargill as the anti-surprise is pretty damn brilliant, honestly. I wouldn't mind them doing more like this. I wouldn't mind if they are in talks with CM Punk right now. Just say, hey, an old fan favorite has been back to Titan Towers recently, and we hope to see him soon. Or something like that. I don't know. I think it's good. The opening voiceover promo thing was not great. It was voiced over by Pat McAfee. I like Pat McAfee. He puts a little bit of goofy energy into everything he does. But it was just him in his radio podcast studio making every single racing, driving pun he could. Now, I know that they had to do this because Fastlane wouldn't make any sense if they didn't. Typically, Fastlane was the fast lane on the road to WrestleMania, so the metaphor kind of works. So they had to drive home that Fastlane wasn't part of the road to WrestleMania. They're doing Fastlane because they're in Indianapolis and Indianapolis 500, etc., etc., etc. But they hammered the metaphor over the head in this opener till it didn't mean anything anymore, which doesn't really matter. I don't need race cars in my wrestling. If you guys don't know this, little side note, I don't drive myself. You guys know I work in a warehouse. I drive reaches and forklifts and all that kind of shit. I don't have my driver's license. I don't ever need to have my driver's license. The whole, like, slip into the fast lane, it didn't have that built in. Oh my god, that's a racing thing. Adrenaline, etc. It never had that for me. So you don't need... Fast lane is just the name of the pay-per-view. It's just Great Balls of Fire, but a little less goofy. Just let it be the name of the show. Payback is just the name of a show. WrestleMania has its place in wrestling history. It is the, I'm going to use a bad pun here, it is the crown jewel of the WWF calendar. But at the end of the day, WrestleMania it's just the name of the show. SummerSlam is just the name of the show. Etc., etc. I'm sort of belaying my own point here, but the opener was not great. And going back a week to No Mercy, and the throwback to the N64 No Mercy game that they incorporated into that entrance was millions of yards better than what this was, which is a bummer, because Pat McAfee was in it, and I like Pat McAfee. We opened up hot with the Tag Team Championship match between the Judgment Day and Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Cole mentions on commentary that both Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes have led the Bullet Club, which sent Twitter into a frenzy. And it wasn't the typical frenzy of, oh, cool, Michael Cole mentioned my thing. It was, well, actually, one of them just led the Bullet Club that was in ROH. That wasn't the real Bullet Club. That's the fake Bullet Club. I don't care. Go outside and touch some fucking grass. Go get a hooker and get your dick sucked. It's wrestling. It ain't that serious. God damn it. But yeah, no, that was cool. Giving a little bit of context, WWE's very, very slowly, and I will say this, they're very, very slowly breaking that mold of let's actually talk about some stuff outside of our bubble, which is good, because that bubble shouldn't really exist. But then on the other side of the coin, if you remember when AEW first started and Sami Zayn mentioned them on television, people wanted to skin him alive on social media. So it is what it is. Judgment Day come out alone in the early going. The faces do a pretty good early job of showing that they can work as a team. The whole match, regardless of the ending, which we'll get to in a second, the whole match did a great job of telling this team has been a team for a while. This team are just figuring their stuff out, and they told that story fantastically. Want to single out specifically Cody Rhodes, who you guys know is never my favorite guy. The standing on the second rope, stalling superplex that he hit on Finn Balor sort of mid-match was pretty fucking awesome and did a great job of making me think that both of them were going to fall out of the ring at one point. Swiftly after that, we got a whole series of time in the match where it was just Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Now, Damian Priest, sooner or later, is going to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. Spoiler, it wasn't tonight. Priest and Jey Uso is a solo feud that I want to see. Get Jey Uso away from any partners, and maybe potentially break Damian Priest away from the Judgment Day and have him just be a solo champion guy, but that is a rivalry that I'd like to see at some point. Jey hits the spear, which I'm happy about, because when they did the Bloodline Civil War, and for the briefest time the Usos started using the double spear as a pin, I thought that was really cool. A little bit of continuity there. I mean, they were sticking it to Roman Reigns, but it was effective. If you have a spear and we hit you with two spears, ours is going to be better because two is more than one. Kind of like 72,000 is not 81,000. Tony Khan. Moving on. Jey using the spear is awesome because he hits a pretty good spear as well. But Jey hitting the spear brings Roman Reigns and Dominic Mysterio out to distract. At some point in this, as Rhea and Dominic are coming down to the ring, Priest misses something and buggers up his leg. I didn't catch what it was, and I didn't feel like rewinding it, so it's fine. JD McDonough comes from the opposite side of the ring. I put JD for JD, and I put JD for Judgment Day as well, so my notes are a mess. With the distraction, Rhea smacks Jey Uso in the face with the case. And we know it's not intentional, but the way she hit him, she kind of came at him sideways. It looks like she got him with the corner of the briefcase, which didn't look very nice. JD tries to help on the outside once the referee's not looking and attack Cody with the briefcase as well, and instead ends up hitting Damian Priest in the bad leg. Cody Rhodes goes on to hit a crossroads on him through the table, taking him out. They go back into the ring, and Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes hit the 1D, so bloodline stuff. Crossroads by Cody Rhodes gets the win. You could have given the pin to Jey, I'm just saying. But yeah, 1D by them. It's all kinds of fun. Crossroads gets the win, and they are the new champions. Now, is there a little bit that says the Usos lost the title at WrestleMania, and now one of them has won it back? There's a little storyline that you can pick at there, and I hope we pick at it going into War Games. Now, I want to put to the side for a second. Check out the press conference, because Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso are at the press conference, and they're hilarious, but I'm pretty sure they're shit-faced. It's good. I don't always go and watch the press conferences or the PLE Express or whatever the heck it's called that they do after the show. They're good. John Cena went out there and said John Cena stuff. Triple H said Triple H stuff. Some idiot in the audience asked Io Sky if she would face Taylor Swift at WrestleMania. There's nothing to say. But yeah, go back and watch it. Pretty sure Cody and Jey Uso are shit-faced, which is hilarious. Then we get an ad for this week's NXT, and I laugh because here's the deal. I did my podcast. I did my little 20-minute spiel about the loaded NXT for next week. And yes, Dynamite has come to Tuesdays for 1 week. They have stacked it to fuck with NXT. They didn't move to fuck with NXT. That's beyond their control. Let me be clear. But they've also stacked it to fuck with NXT. Let's be real for a moment. So WWE has put Cena and Heyman and Asuka and Becky Lynch and Judgment Day and Cody Rhodes and everybody on there to make sort of what I'm starting to call NXT Super Tuesday, which is throwback to something that they did a while ago. And now it ends with The Undertaker's gong, which just sent all the right people. What do I say on the podcast all the time? It pissed off all the right people. So now what we've done in this trailer, because it's basically a trailer for a pay-per-view worthy episode of NXT. So we've gone from last week, where people were upset that WWE dared to put WWE talent on a WWE show, and now the new complaint is that on SmackDown and on the pay-per-view, WWE dared to advertise a WWE show on another WWE show. Your biases is showing. Your biases is showing, and your uncertainty is showing. And judging by the pictures that I've seen from Collision tonight, you're worried. You're really, really worried. And then in the back we have Xavier Woods, Wade Barrett, and Booker T ordering a pizza. For reasons. And I mean, it's a paid advertisement. They're making money on it. So you know exactly what the reasons are. But it's still very much a for reasons. Later on in the night, Xavier Woods brought some of the pizza out to Corey Graves and Michael Cole, and they said, "Ooh, look at how awesome this pizza looks," facing the camera, not at all facing us, because we can't eat like normal people. It's fine. It was a totally unnatural conversation of the three of them talking about what's happening on the show, and then all of them talking, excuse me, about the Pizza Hut app. It's fine. It's harmless. It's sort of self-aware. It's kind of like them all looking at the camera and saying, "We're doing a commercial. Look at us doing a commercial," which is fine. Lashley and the Street Profits versus the LWO. Now, I had a lot of fun with this before the show. Who's going to be the member of the LWO? I was about to say NWO. That's not a thing anymore. I said it in my preview. I bet they take out the other two so that somebody else has to come in and substitute. I thought it was going to be Dragon Lee. I think it should have been Dragon Lee, quite honestly. I was saying, wouldn't it be funny, because Bobby Lashley clearly has a size advantage, wouldn't it be hysterical if they swerved us and used this as an opportunity to do the return of Braun Strowman, because then Braun Strowman could throw Bobby Lashley around and you have the size thing. I pulled out the old picture of CM Punk with the Straight Edge Society luchador mask on, because it's funny, and he's coming, and Survivor Series is in Chicago. It's fine, don't worry about it. But they came out, initially 2-on-1. Montez Ford, if nothing else, comes out and proves every day that he should have a singles run. Like, he just should. Not that Bobby Lashley and Angelo Dawkins aren't good. I mean, Angelo Dawkins is fine. Bobby Lashley's a machine. But when they tag in, and you've just seen a bunch of Montez Ford offense, they look like slugs. And yes, that's coming from me, who looks like a pile of undone laundry. I understand that. But it is what it is. They take out the knee of Santos Escobar, and there's a lot of triple teaming. Rey Mysterio, by the way. Okay, let's talk about gear for a second, because the new Hurt Business, all coming out in their matching gear, looked fucking mint. Somebody check on Michael Hamflet of What Culture, because I know he's a gear guy. But on the other side of the coin, Rey Mysterio came out kind of looking like a health and safety committee cone. No, wasn't a win. They're about to get absolutely destroyed. Zelina Vega on the outside does what she can. She hits a wicked looking Meteora off of the apron onto Montez Ford. Didn't cause a distraction because of reasons. Oh yes, but when they're getting their asses handed to them, eventually the surprise is Carlito, which is fine. There's lore there. They did the stuff at Backlash in San Juan, Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny and the LWO and Carlito coming down and Savio Vega coming down. So there's precedent. It's absolutely fine. It would have been more productive to put Dragon Lee in that spot, though. Nothing against Carlito. Very, very cool to see him. Everybody's mad that he's got new music because that's what wrestling fans do. It was just kind of deflating, I'm not going to lie. Carlito joins in, and then 30 seconds the match is over with a backstabber. So he came in for the last 30 seconds of a match that made him look like he almost couldn't be bothered. Because on the kickoff, it was Santos and Rey talking to each other, and Carlito hadn't even answered the phone yet or answered his text yet. So, a lot of nothing. A lot of great stuff. Santos, Rey, and Montez Ford. Just have the three of them have a triple threat match. I mean, we know Santos is going to turn eventually, so cool. So have him turn on Rey, throw Montez Ford in the mix, give me that triple threat match. I will do that all day. If you want to redo, again, the Cruiserweight division, if you want to redo the Cruiserweight Championship and make people care, put the Cruiserweight Championship on a singles wrestler named Montez Ford. That's just what I'm saying. But I don't know what they achieved here, other than Carlito doing a cameo. I don't know what they achieved here, because the need for a surprise was only on SmackDown, because it was created the night before and all that kind of... If LWO and Bobby Lashley's group were on Raw, and they took out Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro on Raw, and then we had 5 days to speculate who the partner was, maybe there would be a little bit more investment, but I'm even doubtful at that. Lots of great action. Phenomenal athletes, all 6 of them, but I don't know what this achieved. We got the announcement for Crown Jewel in November. Once again, people on Twitter got all sad and crazy like they didn't know what was happening. I don't know what to tell you. Apparently, the original rumored match for Crown Jewel, as I said in my Fastlane preview, was John Cena versus Roman Reigns, and now spoiler checkers or rumor killers now. Rumor killer on that was that was never a thing. So I don't know if LA Knight's going to get his shot at Roman Reigns and it's going to be in Saudi. That's a bummer. But if that's because Roman Reigns is going to be in a War Games match with LA Knight on the other side of it, I don't know. We've also seen the joining of the Judgment Day and the Bloodline on SmackDown, but that can't happen anymore because they're not the tag team champions anymore, which means they can't go to SmackDown anymore. I don't know what any of that means. I really don't. Charlotte versus Asuka versus IYO. IYO is really pissed off about what this mess that Bayley's gotten her into. On the kickoff, they show her saying, "I don't want you at the ringside tonight. I've got this handled. Blah blah blah. I want to go out by myself." So IYO Sky comes out with no damage control. It's a triple threat match. There's no disqualifications. So Asuka, brilliant Asuka, starts the match with a mist to Charlotte Flair, which takes her out. The crowd loves it. The crowd laughs at Charlotte, which is, how dare she be white, blonde, successful, and have an unpopular dad. We get it. But she rolls out for a bit, gets medical attention, which gives us another opportunity to see admittedly what everybody wants to see, more one-on-one time with Asuka and IYO SKY, and they have a hell of a match. Charlotte eventually returns with a boot, and when she returns, IYO and Asuka, who are supposed to... I don't know who is supposed to be the bad guy, because they're trying to make Charlotte Flair a good guy. Asuka's crazy, and IYO SKY is a babyface within a heel group. But IYO SKY and Asuka double team the shit out of Charlotte Flair. This is where I got distracted. There are bits of this match that I got distracted by because my phone started blowing up. Spoilers from Collision, if you haven't watched Collision yet, but Ricky Starks and Big Bill are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Fine. Super happy for Big Bill. Look at all the stuff he's been through in his life. Let him have some success. Ricky Starks is awesome. I'd love to see him come to WWE at some point, but that's obviously not going to be right now. But then Dax from FTR went on Twitter and said, hell of a run, top guys out. And then everybody's speculating that they might be leaving. Oh my god, what do you mean they're leaving? Didn't they just sign a contract? Blah, 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 blah. And then, at the same time, other news was also being revealed that they had registered a trademark for CMFTR. Now, CMFTR, if you've been living under a rock, is the trio of FTR and CM Punk. CM Punk is no longer with the company. Why would they register for the trademark for CMFTR if one-third of that group isn't in the company anymore, unless they're leaving? So I don't know what's true. Apparently, other people are saying, yeah, they're taking a leave from AEW because Cash has medical/legal stuff to do. If that's true, I'm not going to dig into the guy's business. Let him handle his shit and come back wherever when life's good again. If, because we know Punk's coming back to WWE. If Punk does the whole, I'm going to WWE, and hell's coming with me, and hell happens to be Dash and Dawson, the Revival, and we get, I don't know, the Punk Revival in WWE, and all of a sudden, out of reasons that are mostly spite, WWE creates a six-man title and throws it on CM Punk and the Revival. That's never going to happen, but it will make me smile. So all this was going on while this match was going on, which is fine. But I got back into it. Figure 4 on Asuka figure 8 on Asuka by Charlotte Flair. IYO hits her with the Meteora because she can't go anywhere because she's putting the submission on somebody else. The Meteora hit fucking snug too. Very, very nicely done by everybody involved. They then hit a dual submission on Charlotte, basically one working the legs, one working the arms. When she gets out of that, she hits a spear. It's a good night for spears. I don't know whether that's because Roman Reigns is currently not at this particular show or because it just went to AEW. Either one of those will make me smile. Bayley comes down and tries to help, which distracts IYO SKY. IYO SKY gets a shot off of the apron to the outside. Figure 4 on Asuka again. Bayley distracts again. Over the moonsault by IYO SKY, and IYO SKY gets the win. So, we have it where Bayley was told not to come out, came out anyway, almost cost IYO the title, but then Bayley being there allowed IYO SKY to save her title. The only problem I have with this is why did Bayley need to distract the referee? Because A, she wasn't doing anything illegal, and B, even if she was doing something illegal, there's no disqualifications in a triple threat match. So there are holes in the story, but I know the story that they're trying to tell, and it's not perfect. It is absolutely not perfect. But again, what was everybody expecting? Everybody bitched. Because, again, Charlotte Flair, how dare you be white, blonde, successful, and have an unpopular dad? Oh my god, Charlotte's just maneuvered herself into another title defense. Charlotte Flair's maneuvered herself into another match. Charlotte Flair's maneuvered herself into another title run. No, actually, she's there to eat the pin so that your favorites don't have to eat the pin so that she can put over your favorites again. Just say you're biased and sign off for the night. It's absolutely fine. Those of you that are so sick of Charlotte Flair know how people felt when somebody that was actually shoved down our throats, like Bianca Belair, was being treated as, oh no, that's just how you book a star. That's just how you book a star. Guess what? You might not like it, but Charlotte Flair is a star. And her going in there and eating a pin for IYO SKY does a whole lot of good for IYO SKY. And what else it does? It means Asuka, who's also amazing, doesn't have to eat a loss. She didn't win, but she didn't lose. She breaks even. Io Sky continues her title reign. Charlotte loses again. Be happy about that, you weirdos. LA Knight arrives in the back in the Slim Jim car. It's the Slim Jim car that he won in the Slim Jim Battle Royal how many months ago? I got nothing. We're setting up for the next tag team match, which is the Bloodline versus John Cena and LA Knight. But before that, we get Pat McAfee actually in the building, which is absolutely fine. He hypes up the crowd a little bit, talks about how you go to other places and those crowds are dead, but Indianapolis is really giving it to us tonight. This was really good because at various points in the show tonight, Indianapolis was not a very good crowd, and they were pin droppers at some point in the night. And you know, the last desperation ploy, much in the vein of John Cena, is like, hey, wouldn't be bad if we had a WrestleMania here, would it? Got everybody all hyped up again, and then he introduced John Cena. And then we got John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline. And I don't have much to say about this one. It was what it was. There was no funny business. There was no shenanigans. There was Paul Heyman on the phone talking to Roman Reigns, giving him a play-by-play about what's happening in the ring, as if Roman Reigns can't afford a television or Peacock. That was funny. But for the most part, it was a very, very high-energy house show, which is absolutely fine. House show feel, house show booking of the match. Solo and Cena, when they were in the ring together, ran into each other like two fucking bricks, which was great. Cena takes the majority of the match, gets his ass handed to him for time and days, including Solo Sikoa dragging him to the corner and sitting on him a bit, which was interesting. The whole thing was making this crowd fucking simmer for the hot LA Knight tag, and my god, the hot LA Knight tag. Cena winded himself hitting a top rope crossbody on Solo, and then immediately got splashed by Jey. So basically, he punched himself in the chest, and then somebody else punched him in the chest, which was fine. Predictable ending. Like I say, predictable house show ending. 5-knuckle shuckle, blunt force trauma, the faces win, send the fans home happy, except it's not the last match. Now, this is where WWE could have gotten themselves in a lot of bother. They really, really could have. They could have made people believe that, hey, we got John Cena on the show and he's not in the main event, which means whatever's happening in the main event, something big is going to happen, i.e. a Money in the Bank cash-in. So, before the main event, we show Damian Priest in medical, getting his leg wrapped, getting his leg iced and looked at, and we see not only the Judgment Day telling him, like, hey man, you're in no shape to do this, blah, 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 you're injured, you can't do it, you were the one that always wanted to say you wanted to do it at the perfect time, and tonight's not the perfect time, look what shape you're in. And not only giving him that pep talk and that reality check, but Rhea Ripley, in her, I guess, leadership role of the Judgment Day, confiscated his Money in the Bank briefcase. Really, really nice touch. Kind of like creating a reason why Sami Zayn wasn't in the Royal Rumble before the Royal Rumble match happened, so that nobody would boo everybody else in the Royal Rumble match. I mean, number 30 was Cody, and he got handed a bunch. But in principle, it works. In principle, if this was the last match, Rollins Nakamura in a last man standing match, scheduling a last man standing match for the championship when there is a Money in the Bank holder in play should be like an automatic tell that there's going to be a cash-in. But that makes sense. That's why they made sure to show you that A, he's in no condition to compete, B, he's got friends telling him not to compete, C, his friends have taken away his briefcase like a friend that takes away your keys when you're drunk. I hope somebody has taken away Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes' keys, because as I say once again, go back to the press conference, those two are not okay. It's hilarious, and it's a lot of fun, and nothing bad happened. It wasn't brawl out or anything like that, because, you know, WWE's an adult company, but it is hilarious. Rollins versus Nakamura was just the slow execution of Rollins, who's the guy with the bad back. So really, all I have to do is a bunch of spots, so you'll forgive me if I go through a bullet list of spots. Rollins is all taped up when he comes out. The first thing he does is expose the concrete in front of the ring. That's never brilliant, is it? As soon as the match starts, the fans are already cheering for tables. Rollins tosses steps, and he tries and fails to do a stomp, and he misses and hits the bottom step himself, which I'm sure would jar up through your leg and affect your back. Nakamura knocks him sort of face first out of the ring so that he can drop a knee right on the back of his head, which is fine. Nakamura has nunchucks. That's a thing. Sliding suplex through the ropes, landing on the back. Friggin' Seth Rollins absolutely bowing up like he's having a fucking seizure when his back hits the ramp. Because anytime you hit a normal move in a match that is now included weapons, it seems lesser than. Like, a powerbomb is a pretty vicious move if you really think about it, but a powerbomb in a match where we've already had concrete floors and steps and people throwing nunchucks at each other, it seems pretty tame. So you have to sell the fuck out of it to remind everybody that's watching, yeah, the regular stuff hurts too. Nakamura then chokes him out with the nunchucks. Rollins comes back with some weapons of his own. He's got cans, he's got kendo sticks, etc. Rollins hurts himself doing a frog splash and then decides it's a brilliant idea to add a ladder to the mix. They brawl into the crowd. There's a low blow and a toss from the crowd to the floor by Nakamura. Nakamura beats him back to the ring with a chair. Just like keeps smacking him towards the ring with a chair, which is absolutely fine. Backdrop onto the concrete that Seth Rollins himself exposed as a bit of karma. Once they get back in the ring, there's a desperation super kick and a pedigree before Seth Rollins falls on his own face once again. Nakamura takes him to the outside where there's a table set up, and he hits sort of a modified Meteora, because he puts him on the table, goes to the top of the to the top of the top rope. I can speak, I swear. He dives to the outside, off the top rope, through the table, knees into the gut of Seth Rollins, through the table to the floor. Looked really, really nasty and looked a lot better than how I'm explaining it. Nakamura eats the post, and how. Nakamura climbs a ladder and that Seth Rollins had set up. Seth Rollins climbs the ladder as well. Nakamura gets him with the mist. Oh, yes. Oh, fucking, yeah. And tosses Rollins off the ladder through the commentary table. Takes him into the ring where there just happens to be a chair there. Backbreaker on a chair. They prop up a table in the corner. He kinshasses him through a table. They go back into the crowd once again. They get onto some random conspicuous platform, and Rollins hits another desperation pedigree, but psychs himself up enough to hit a Falcon Arrow off of that platform through some tables that are covered by cloth and a bunch of other fake stuff. Rollins gets the win. Nakamura tries to stand up, and he basically plays it up like he has a spasm in his own back that keeps him from getting up completely. Rollins is propping himself up with a broken piece of the table for the win. If there was going to be a surprise cash-in, it would have been right there. But then you go immediately to the replay package at the end, and it's like, okay, so we're definitely not doing the cash-in tonight. I think it would have been hilarious if Judgment Day had carried down, like in their arms, carried down a broken Damian Priest. JD McDonough trying to redeem himself. He beats the shit out of Seth Rollins, and they throw Damian Priest's injured body on top of a dead Seth Rollins for the win. That would be the ultimate slimeball victory, and it would be the only way, realistically speaking, that JD McDonough is not going to get his head kicked off by Damian Priest on Monday for costing them the tag team titles. So like I say, and you'll see it in the thumbnail or whatever, the only really actual big storyline advancement here is the tag titles. So they led heavy, and they left off kind of, oh, we're just doing that. Which is fine. It's a show. It had 5 matches. It flew by. It absolutely flew by. Just don't go on Twitter, because people are idiots. You know, the WWE tried to acknowledge other stuff, and you shout on them for doing it, when for years you've shout on them for not doing it. So that's just people being stupid. All the advertisements were hilarious. The Slim Jim stuff, the Pizza stuff was fine. People freaking out about ads for NXT, people freaking out about ads for Crown Jewel. It's just like, you've got so little to complain about. So little to complain about that you're complaining about advertising. And I'm sorry, people say it on the other side with AEW. It's like, oh, Tony Khan's not a weirdo, he's just promoting. He's a promoter, he's going to promote his show. Well, okay. WWE promoted a upcoming WWE show on a WWE pay-per-view. How is that not the same thing? I don't know. Crown Jewel is what it is. I'm not going to get on people about that, but I mean, get past what it is, and if the show's good, the show can still be good. And realistically speaking, it might be the shot that LA Knight gets. So if you shut off your attention from the Crown Jewel show, WWE might use that as an excuse to de-push LA Knight. It's not right, it's not proper, I'm not defending them for that, but it is absolutely something that could happen. I don't know what they do with the Judgment Day now, because now the only ones in the Judgment Day that hold titles are Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio's title being an NXT title. I don't know whether Judgment Day as a whole show up on NXT to attack Cody Rhodes. Will Jey Uso be there? If Jey Uso's out there, will Jimmy Uso be there with Solo and Paul Heyman when Paul Heyman is in Braun Breaker's corner for the match against Carmelo Hayes with John Cena in his corner? It's a lot of fun, and there's a whole lot of... If I can put any message out to you guys, right? You don't have to like everything, but don't try to suck the fun out of everything for people that are capable of having a good time. I know that makes me sound preposterous, and I know that makes me sound super full of myself and like I'm on my high horse or my podium or whatever. It's really not. It's really just, you know what? Fuck off and let people enjoy things. Fuck off and let the people that actually enjoy NXT, because it's a smaller group, I'll admit it, but let them enjoy the fact that their thing is going to get the attention for 1 week. Just fuck off and let people enjoy things. I'm not particularly excited about Jade Cargill, like I said, but other people are, and that's fine. I wasn't very excited when Cody Rhodes came in, but other people were ecstatic about it. They're not bad people. I just don't agree with them. Try that as a model. I'm begging you. I really, really am begging you. But if The Undertaker comes out on Tuesday and tombstones Carmelo Hayes and becomes the NXT champion, I will laugh. That's the end of that. I will laugh, and I will have a drink, and I will end up looking like your new WWE Unified Universal Tag Team Champions Jey Uso and the Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Go watch the press conference. Go watch them being shit-faced. It's awesome. I'm rambling now. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye.